Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Score big with rebates up to $2,000 on the Kawasaki Nav, Kawasaki's first ever fully electric personal transportation vehicle designed for cruising the good life. Be the first to nav your neighborhood. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location, where they can't wait to get you set up for football season.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. This is Peter Ferguson BHS LLC, and joined as always on the ones and twos with Harrison. Glad to be back. How you doing this morning, Harrison?
Fantastic. It's a beautiful day here. It's getting to fall. It's not quite bad yet, though. But we got Husker volleyball later today. I know Husker wrestling also starting up. They got a home meet coming up with the Army pretty soon. Unfortunately, Husker football took a loss, but the atmosphere was awesome yesterday, nonetheless, despite everything else. Then I know Husker soccer season came to an end, and you're kind of getting to the end of some of these sports, and some of these other ones are starting to pick up. Husker basketball, who I'm very excited for. They're going to be kicking up as well. And then my Chicago Bulls, they're 5-0.
I was going to say,
let's go.
They're showing up and showing out. So not a bad deal. We keep talking about that transition of the season. The weather is starting to, but it's a beautiful day outside. I got my last mow in on Friday.
There you go.
It's tough because you're getting home. It's like daylight, and it's not, there's no sun in the morning, and then you leave and come back and you miss that little hour window, and you don't want to be that guy mowing in the neighborhood getting the cops called on him like why it's dark.
They put the headlights on those riders for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, mine, I'm not at that point yet. Mine
what
is
do you got, zero
just,
turn?
Oh, turn. You're supposed to turn. There's no patterns in my lawn, Harrison. Obviously, you haven't been over as of late, but all good. But it's been a great, transition. I do want to just give a shout out to Mike Smith for subbing in last week, him, Phil Maynard, and then we had Adi Gloria, who was a scholar guest. Absolutely phenomenal. I think the discussion she brought around, whether it be her playlist, the AI to her definition of love. If you haven't gotten a chance, go back and listen to that. You can go on YouTube, go on the app, the 93.7 The Ticket app. You can listen on Red Circle. They have all the past episodes. And then if you get a chance, listen to Mike, 5 to 6 on Tuesdays, the weekly Disrupt, one of the newer shows here, but I love the format. He's calling in individuals who've been disruptive in people's lives and really kind of throw back to that true radio sense where you're picking up the phone and having people dial in or you're calling out. So love it, and get a chance again, 5 to 6, the weekly Disrupt with Mike Smith.
Yeah, it's I mean this in the nicest way possible. He is exactly that. He's disruptive. he just comes into spaces and he's got a million ideas, and some of them are pretty great ideas, and I don't want to spoil it, but he's got some really cool stuff planned. I know here at the Ticket later towards the end of the Husker football season, and I think I can just leave it at there. But yeah, no, it's awesome. He's got a different way of thinking. I think just through his experiences and kind of what he's seen, he's got a unique approach that it's worth hearing. And then again, with his whole theme of the weekly Disrupt, just calling up people that have really had just big impact? Because I think you were the last guest as well, or you hosted the last.
I hosted on Tuesday as he went out to Salem to experience Halloween with the child and the wife for her 40th birthday. But you're right. Like I said, I mean, we went down to something he had in the Haymarket and never thought it would be on my bucket list, but had a skateboarder jump over my head. And so I think Rudy was down there and a couple other tickets. So those pictures are coming out, but really just as just an asset to the community. And having individuals that not only think that way, but act. And so he's been a positive disruption in my life as well. So you get that chance. A lot of great stuff here on the ticket. Also we've just got a couple congratulations. This came across my timeline. I thought this was really cool. When we talk about just the station is bigger than the score. There was an FFA appointment in Indianapolis. And those of you who are familiar with FFA, every year that is one of the largest conferences here, but things nationwide, Future Farmers of America. And Claire Woelpel is the first Nebraskan to serve as an FFA officer since 2012, 2013. She was appointed in Indianapolis, and just a tremendous, that is a huge deal for anybody who's been involved in that. So congratulations to Claire. I'm actually going to try to reach out there and see if we can get her on the show. Because I just really loved listening to her story. You got area volleyball teams. We finished districts. And so the opportunity in the road to state for some individuals, their season ended, but for a number, it continued. For Lincoln teams, a number of Lincoln area teams in the mix. Norris, you've got Lincoln Lutheran, Malcolm. And then from Lincoln Public Schools, you've got Lincoln North Star, and then Lincoln Southeast. Did get in with one of the wild cards. And so just a point of privilege, note out to Kendall Jackson and Alexi Party, who I have a connection with. They are they're players on the North Star team, and so they're going to state. So congratulations to them. We've talked ad nauseum about kind of the Husker component, and so a lot of stuff Husker-wise going on. But for me and my era, something that was kind of cool, Magic Johnson won his 16th championship with the Los Angeles Dodgers winning yesterday.
That's right. I forget he's part of that.
Part owner. And so 16th championship as a player and an owner. So 3 as a Dodgers owner, 10 as a Lakers player, 1 at Michigan State, 1 as the WNBA Sparks owner, and then 1 as an LAFC owner. So it was kind of funny when he was doing his interview. They were like, congratulations. And he was like, to one of the players, and he goes, how about me for my 16 rings? And they said, you're going to have to go ahead and get some more toes and stuff for all those rings. So great. Just a lot of stuff going on athletically, but excited for the show today. Not excited. I shouldn't say excited. It's timely, but it was something for a show that they had approached me after last year being on. And so we had scheduled this, I believe, Xavier, in September. He was calling for a date in September to be on air. But Xavier and Harno is a part of the Food Blitz. And so they're going to speak a little bit more about that. But as I said, it's timely. It's something that was planned in September, not knowing kind of what the current state of things would be. And it's around food insecurity. And one of the things is in Nebraska, 12% of individuals face food insecurity. Food insecurity is growing. And if you've watched the news and a variety of different things, it's growing just in general. And I think that's one of the things that is sad, but it's the reality. Over 70,000 people in Lincoln face insecurity. We have a lot of organizations that are addressing it. I'm very close with, Michaela Kumke, the director and CEO over at the Food Bank. I know the station has reached out with the Center of People in Need, and a lot of organizations and restaurants around town have stepped up in this time of need. But the Food Blitz, as they'll tell you, is in its 18th year. And so 13th. I'm sorry. I got to read Roman numerals. He's getting on me about the Roman numerals. Okay. It's going to be going for 18, but it's in its 13th year and addressing just some things. And so I'm really interested to hear how young people are addressing and stepping up to address various needs, not only of the community, but sometimes it's impacting their peers. And so I want to welcome both of you back to 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score.
Thank you for having us, Pete. This is amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. He said amazing, Harrison. He said this is amazing. He's looking at me because he's like, dude can't read Roman numerals. And so, well, with that being said, Xavier, tell us first off who you are, what your purpose is, so people can reintroduce themselves to you.
Yeah, so my name is Xavier Sorto. My purpose is to be kind to others and to show compassion in places that it's not very present in. And I'm a senior now at Southwest. Last year I was a junior. Now it's final year of high school, so that's interesting. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm a senior at Southwest.
We have to get what are some future plans real quick?
College, going to be studying electrical engineering. Not sure where yet, but
All right. So he's still a free agent. So I keep coming up here. I want to get the first bigger than the score NIL deal for somebody that's come on here, Harrison. So that's going to happen. So we've got an electrical engineer, we've got fashion designers, we got athlete, we got the whole deal. So if you want to go ahead and get an NIL, let's just get in touch with Harrison, get in touch with DP. We'll get you taken care of. Or what about you?
Okay. Hi, I'm Harnu Sidhu. I am a sophomore at Lincoln Southwest High School, and my purpose is to lead with empathy.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about just kind of where you go to school and what year are you and your journey a little bit.
So I'm a sophomore at Southwest, and yeah, it's been fun.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the senior and sophomore. So first off, like, tell us a little bit, Xavier, I'm going to start with you because we had a conversation just about your connection to food insecurity. And it's a little bit, I would say, unique as we had that conversation. Sometimes people say, okay, how did you experience that firsthand? What's connected you to this, if you mind sharing?
yeah. So growing up, I did Cub Scouts. And so one of the times we were volunteering for Matt Tablet, and I was one of the people helping serve food. And so I was there, and at the time I'm just a kid. So I mean, I don't really understand anything really. I'm in elementary school. I'm just like thinking about when my next meal is, or like when I'm going to recess for school or something, right? So I'm serving food, and to me it's just like, oh, this is just a regular meal. But then I was watching as I would serve, or I would see people get served food, and just the thankfulness on their face, every person that they were able to get a meal that day was just really, I mean, it just shook me a little bit. Just this is kind of the first time really seeing like real world problems and people solving those real world problems, and seeing like true compassion and thankfulness. And really, to me, that was just really touching.
And so you had shared a little bit just kind of with grandparents and some components of that. Tell me a little bit of.
Yeah, so just a little bit, just growing up, both my parents come from a little bit less fortunate households. And so growing up, just it wasn't always like, not everyone in my family was always well off. We were better off, but just not everyone was. And so to grow up around that and kind of see that from an outside perspective was it was just interesting. It had a big impact on me as well.
And I think was that when you make that kind of unique component, like just sometimes we all just assume on different things and peers in that component. So I appreciate you being willing to kind of put yourself out there and share in regards to that. All right. What about you? What has connected you with this when you talk about food insecurity outside of just kind of sometimes it's out there, I know there's the food bank. I know there's these different components. Tell me a little bit about like, what's your connection with kind of food insecurity and the food blitz itself?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, my connection to Food Blitz is being a part of FBLA and having this event that Heinrichs had started. And
Heinrichs is who, for those you don't know? You got all these aliases out here. You're like Heinrichs, and you're like, okay, is that Superman? Is that Batman? Who is that?
Our advisor at Southwest. Yeah. And I think that was one connection. And also, like in middle school for Thai Club, I had volunteered for the food bank, and we helped organize tons of different like food cans and stuff, and also just personal care items. And I volunteered at the Matt Talbot too with Thai Club in middle school. I've been doing it with Stuco at Southwest. So I think just having those small volunteering opportunities where we can help the community has connected me with serving food.
Awesome. Appreciate that. So Xavier, you know, one of the things we talked about is food insecurity just isn't about people who can afford it. It's about access. Talk a little bit and broaden that perspective for individuals kind of in the space.
Yeah. So when you hear food insecurity, you might think like you're someone who can't afford food. And I think it's a lot bigger than that. Food insecurity it does encompass that, but it's also just someone who doesn't have access to affordable, nutritious food. That could be someone who doesn't have a car to go to the nearby grocery store. That could be someone who only lives next to a convenience store, like a gas station or something, and they only have access to like whatever Skittles or Hershey's are being sold there. And so food insecurity is very broad in the sense that it's not just like maybe the homeless person you see on the street, but it can literally be your neighbor as well, and you just wouldn't know it.
And so you know talked about framing that mission of a community. Speak to that a little bit. You know, as I looked at kind of what you shared, framing that community of one community of dignity and care. Give an example of what that looks like, both of you.
I would say, because obviously you don't want to be just, oh, here's food, we're doing a super great thing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's about being able to provide a meal and show them dignity in the sense that like having a conversation with them. It's not just, oh, we're serving them a meal and they're all eating in a chow hall. It's interacting with them and getting to know them on the personal level and who that person is. And then also understanding the situation they come from as well is very important, just because, again, food insecurity isn't just someone who's homeless living on the street. It can literally be your neighbor as well.
Appreciate that. What about you? When you talked about like just framing the mission, community dignity and care.
I think for me, it's, you know, when you see those statistics about food insecurity, I don't think you really know what every individual is going through. And I think for me, it's important to make sure that we don't just see people just getting the food, you know? They all have different experiences that they're going through. They have their struggles, and I think it's important to make sure that we treat them as people, not just as people who are, you know, just getting your help. You know, treat them as people who have lives outside of that.
And you shared about, you know, one of the benefactors of the food blitz is the People City Mission. That's kind of the primary benefactor. Talk a little bit about just the organization. I know it started in 1907. They've been making a huge impact. What's kind of the impact that they've made in Lincoln, and then just the impact it's made on you personally?
Yeah, so the People City Mission, they've been around for a very long time in Lincoln. And I mean, they provide temporary housing, medical services, and they help provide food and clothing to people that need it. They have a free shop where people can come in and get supplies if they need them anytime.
And I know
And
it's various supplies from not only just food, but you know, people are doing interviews. If people are, you know, for birthdays, you know, I think even if it's birthday parties, you know, for their child or things like that, they can go and get gifts. So it's not just kind of a one-stop type location.
yeah, they have many different
Mm.
options of like what you can get. I mean, I guess some statistics is in 2024, they served over 165,000 meals
Mm.
at their shelter, and they provided over 1 million clothing and household items. And so I think they've been doing a pretty big impact here in Lincoln as well as other organizations. And actually, a few weeks ago, we invited the director of volunteer services
Yeah.
for People City Mission.
And talk about that
Josh.
experience.
Yeah.
What did you hear? What did you hear from? What did you just kind of for you? What spoke to your core when he came in and kind of shared about the mission, but also the experience that adults, but also young people had?
I think it was very eye-opening for me because, you know, he was going on and on talking about the different things that his organization does, but he also just kind of talked to these high schoolers about what's going on in the community. And I think for me and for many other people, it really opened our eyes to like this is happening in our community. You know, there are people in the room that FBLA meeting who might be going through it. And I think it was very informational. I think everyone really began to think about it, like the impact that was happening and what they were doing in the community. And it was a very interesting conversation.
So Xavier, you all have both been involved in kind of different components. And so as we kind of tie different things in, you know, we had, I think probably 2-3 weeks ago, Place Matters. And so it came in, it was done by the Community Health Endowment. They talked about just various things that were impacted basically by zip code. And so how your place matters. And so one of the things that was brought forward was like food deserts in one of those maps. Talk a little bit about like what is kind of a food desert, so to speak. What did you take away from that when you looked at kind of, wow, a zip code is really impacting if they're going to experience food insecurity or not.
Yeah. So from what we saw, based on the data that Place Matters had collected, basically it was that there were some areas of Lincoln where they just did not have easy access to healthy, nutritious food. It was kind of like the definition of insecurity or food insecurity almost. Oftentimes there just wasn't like enough transportation, or there wasn't a store nearby that really cared, like a nice grocery store that actually carried healthy, nutritious food at an affordable price. And so a lot of that was kind of centered around center of Lincoln. And that was just something that was kind of heartbreaking, as you think about it, that's kind of one of our oldest neighborhoods in this city, as well as that's where a lot of college students are as well. And so if you think about it, future tomorrow people don't have access to that healthy, affordable, nutritious food that they need to really contribute to society and continue to build upon themselves and continue to contribute thereon after.
Well, and I think that was a good point. One of the things is it's not just about surviving, but it's like, how can people, thrive in spaces? And when you don't have, like, one of the things I took away was, what is the definition of, okay, there's restaurants, and does the McDonald's count, and pantries, and those type of things. It was just, there was a real disparity on what you saw, and sometimes in the most populated areas.
I feel like what was also even scarier was that we didn't just see data on where a food desert is. What was even scary is the fact that just based on zip code alone, not that it determined, but it could determine how long you live. And there was a disparity between like North and South Lincoln about, I think it was 3 or 4 years, about how long they lived on average.
Well, and I think that was one of those things, like, I'm not trying to give years back. And so, Harrison's here. He's used to not being, when we have this show, the youngest one in the studio, but usually is. But that was Harrison. That was one of the real eye openers, determining factors of zip code, of just the years that you were giving by just living in a certain spot in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense though. We live in an area where it's like so dependent on vehicles. And where if you don't have something within walking distance, to Xavier's point, it's, is the gas station the nearest thing for me? And if you don't have a car, we can go to the grocery store and actually get that. So, I think it's another part of it is those food deserts are real, especially if you struggle with transportation. And I think that's an element that people miss.
Well, and I think one of those things, when you talked about like just the transportation, I think Lincoln is a beautiful community. Like,
luckily it does have good bus systems and stuff going on.
Well, you see, it's like people from USC are sitting out here in the mill, and if you get a chance to come down to 1040 O Street, it has been buzzing today. But like, they're like, wow, this place is absolutely beautiful. But I do think sometimes Lincoln does a good job. Like we hire poor, really well. Like, they're just like, oh, I just don't see individuals out like I see in my community, and this, that, and the other. And we provide, and we have such great services, but oftentimes that doesn't put that visually right in your face all the time. And so with that being said, we're going to come back with both of you. You're going to share a little bit more about the Food Blitz, the specifics, the role that you have, and how can people kind of help take this over the top on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinnie Krekak of State Farm Insurance.
Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sappbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
If the power is out, traffic lights might be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a 4-way stop. See more tips at les.com/safety.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Schaefer's is celebrating its 79th anniversary with special rebates, financing, savings, and free delivery store-wide.
Update your home with innovative Samsung appliances and save up to an additional $900 with rebates. Samsung Innovation saves you energy and time with easy-to-connect appliance technology. Plus, during Schaefer's anniversary, get free delivery on your appliance purchase.
So hurry in during Schaefer's 79th anniversary event, going on now.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. This is Peter Ferguson BHS LLC, and joined as always on the ones and twos with Harrison on a Sunday morning. That's kicking off a lot of good stuff here on The Ticket. Following up, what do we got coming up, Harrison, later on this afternoon?
Yeah, we still got me and Hosta Breezy, and potentially DP might join us on the next hour. Yeah, I got a couple bowlers, Haley Swindle, Desiree Buchert. Those guys got a nice little off weekend. They had 2 weekends in a row where they got first place and then fifth place the last one. They're off this weekend, so they will be live in studio and then chopping it up with Chubbs. He'll join us at 2. Chatters for 2 hours. Ricky C. Simmons will be in the mix. I think we got Kaylee Danker as well, and we gotta fit in volleyball post game as well. So I think that one's at 5. But you get the point. There's plenty going on here, and you guys are always welcome to join in through all of the streams throughout the course of the day. And you know, Pete, you can answer this one. What's wrong with our play calling on offense? Why do the refs hate us? We'll get to those conversations and probably some of the other the shows, but this is Bigger Than the Score with Pete Ferguson.
You know what? This is your reprieve from the Husker montage of
mental
things
health
that have gone
break,
on. So this is your well-being break, and we've got 2 phenomenal scholars that are here to support your well-being, doing great stuff out in the community. Really appreciate them being here. So before, like I said, we kind of converse, one of the things that has really stood out to me, we think about just the impact on just not only just the community, but young people, how this really got framed to me was during an experience probably a couple of years ago. And we had some scholars involved in a panel, and they were helping to speak about food insecurity. The community was learning about it. And one young lady was on the panel, and she says, I want to just frame it for you this way. And she says, as we were growing up, obviously she said not obviously, but we struggled a little bit just in regards to being able to get certain things. And so one of them was food. And as she continued on, she said, we were on food assistance, and that can take on various different forms. And she says one of the things with the food assistance that we were on, we were limited on what we could get. And she says, I understand, why there's restrictions. And this was a young lady who was a junior or senior in high school. And she says, I understood that. But she says one of the restrictions is we couldn't really get things with sugar. And she says, with that being said, we could never go to like a Super Saver or a Hy-Vee and get a birthday cake. And all of a sudden it was framed in a way and everybody was just like, wow. And she goes, so we didn't really have birthday cakes or things like that growing up. And she said at the end, she goes, I really do feel like, though, everybody deserves to have something nice. Everybody deserves to have a birthday cake. And when we think about the nature of what food insecurity and what it brings, it's not just those I don't say nutritious items, but you get your breads and you get your fruits and vegetables and this, that, and the other. But when she says, doesn't everybody deserve to have something nice? And everybody in that room was like, yeah. And so when you hear that and just talk about the food blitz, it's, to me, as I frame it simply, it's about everybody deserves to have something nice. And that's what your connect is. And so share a little bit about just the specifics about the food blitz and how is it supporting everybody having something nice?
So what we do is FBLA stands outside
and tell me what FBLA is for those that
okay.
may not be familiar with it.
So FBLA is a club, the high school club, and it's called Future Business Leaders of America.
Okay.
It's for people who are interested in business, leadership, community service.
Those entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah,
you got to have Mike Smith come and talk to you. So there you go.
So what we do, as well as DECA, which is another business club, we have a huge truck where we'll go stand outside of Super Saver and, we'll ask people to donate food for the food blitz. And the goal of it is to, help raise food and get money for People City Mission. And, be standing out there in the cold. People will be coming in to get some stuff for the Husker game. And we'll ask to help out.
So how does this tie into your purpose? And share that again with the individuals out there, like I said, who you are and then your purpose. And how does this tie into that?
Mm-hmm. So I'm Harna Sidhu, and my purpose is to lead with empathy. And I think a big thing for me is empathy, is understanding that everyone has stuff going on. And I think this really helps me live out my purpose because, when you're giving away food, you realize every single person that's getting this meal is going through something. They're struggling through something. And, you can't always see that when you first look at them. And yeah.
Thank you. Xavier, what about you? How does this tie into your purpose? And then what are some of the specifics, of what's going on next Saturday?
Yeah. So again, my name is Xavier Sorto for viewers just tuning in. Part of my purpose is to be compassionate to others. And so the way this ties into Food Blitz is that to be able to provide someone a meal who doesn't know where their next meal is coming from, that is just powerful in the sense that you are doing a good service to them and that you make their day better. And so imagine that now with this event on a massive scale. So to kind of put that into perspective, Food Blitz is hosted by Southwest FBLA, but this is not possible without, I want to shout out all the various other FBLA chapters from all the other high schools and all the other DECA chapters from all the other high schools. What Food Blitz is it's a citywide food drive across various B&R store locations. B&R stores is the people who own Super Saver and Russ's Markets. And so this event takes place across various Super Savers and Russ's Markets throughout Lincoln. The way it works is that DECA and FBLA chapters from various schools are standing outside or within the store, and they're handing out flyers, basically asking for just a list of items. So what a shopper will typically see is as they go in, they'll receive a flyer from them, and they'll read on the flyer. There's just some few items they're looking for, like non-perishables, canned items, canned foods, etc. And so while they're out shopping for their regular groceries, they can go buy a canned item and just donate it to them on the way out. And so with that, as that stacks up over time, we've been able to raise over 71,000 pounds of food over the last 13 years.
Wow.
And last year alone, Lincoln raised just under 10,000 pounds. Wow. And so it's really just amazing to be able to do this every year. This is my third year doing the event. This is my second time being heavily involved with leadership for the event. And it's just amazing to kind of see just the change that it can make within the community and the smile you can put on people's faces just by providing something that you might take for granted, that being a meal.
Well, and I think you talked about, one, we'll go over locations, but almost every BNR in Russ's store. And again, it's not just the Southwest thing. It's community-wide, and, scholars participating in this. But when people talked about like the donations are great, one of the things I pulled up is it just says, you're really looking for items that can be made without added ingredients or only add water. I think sometimes we think, oh, okay, we want this, great steak meal and this, that, and the other. And it takes preparation, which the preparation isn't the issue. It's just having the resources and supplies to be able to do some of those other things. And so what can easily be combined to make a meal, or it's a shelf state food suggestion. And so those things include like individuals, mac and cheese, cans of tuna, pasta sauce, with meat and without meat. So thinking about other people's dietary needs, pasta, microwavable rice, something with a can of chicken, those microwavable meals that can stay on the shelf for a period of time, chicken noodle, vegetable beef, cream of chicken soup, instant potatoes, pancake mix and syrup, pudding cups, Jell-O, cereal bars. And then also, I think you'll accept some of those other basic needs that are necessary, like toilet paper, as you take those to spaces. And so just a reminder, I think sometimes we get real creative on things and, reminding like is it something that can stay and something that can last? And so talk a little bit about just, you've had connections with Mr. Pearson, and we talked a little bit about leading with love. Okay. And so for me, like when I think about the definition of what that looks like and your involvement in this is a component of leading with love. And so Xavier, tell me, what does that look like for you with the Food Blitz, but in general, and then tell me a specific action people can do to lead with love to support you all next week.
I'm going to try and contextualize this because this is just something that's very important to me. So start off how I know Derek Pearson. He came in a couple times for one of the things I'm associated with Pete with. And he gave a speech about a love print. And what that basically is in a nutshell is that every time you go into a space and you show compassion, you show love, you leave a mark onto that space, onto people you interacted with. That is almost like, it's similar to how a carbon footprint works, but instead it's called a love print. And he'd actually gave me a book that he's a co-author of, and I read it. And the way he describes it is that you take your hands and you just drench them in this red velvety paint. And each time you show compassion and love, imagine just pressing that paint onto that person. And imagine you do that so well that that paint is so thick that now that person could take that same print and press it onto others. So where I'm going with this is that this idea of showing your love print, of impacting your love print on people. I'm currently actually writing a college essay, senior college application season. I'm writing a college essay, my main Common App essay, the 650 word one. It's it's pretty infamous. It's pretty infamous, but it's about leading with love, because that message has just really stuck with me the past 2 years that I've thought over it. And so the way I've spun it, at least, is that leading with love is not the idea of trying to be doing everything yourself, taking all the glory, but rather it's building up others to be successful after you're gone. And so kind of the way that I've taken this with the Food Blitz is that leading with love is not just me we're going to be going on a bunch of interview circuits here soon. We're going to be going on different channels and such, but it's not just me alone going to do this, but it's also me and my team, me coaching them, me training them. How can they do this? What are the connections to do this after I'm gone? And that's applying to both FBLA. I apply that to both FBLA, but also just the other stuff that I'm on leadership for, is just trying to develop others to be their best sense of leadership. Because after I'm gone, it's not that I can be there to do everything for them. So they have to be able to carry on after me. And in the sense that how this applies to the Food Blitz, I'm trying to lead with love in the sense that I'm trying to think heavier about like each flyer that I hand out while standing outside of that Super Saver, each news interview that I'm going on or some such, that can be the difference between another mouth fed. And so just trying to do the most and make the most out of each and every situation I get to promote this event, to do for this event, is really important to me in a sense. And then just how can people lead with love in relation to this event? I would say just being compassionate and promoting the event really to others, just because I know I tried to ask my friends, hey, can you guys repost this? And they don't like posting stuff on the Instagram story, so I didn't see that. But I guess in the sense leading in that way, just reposting, sharing, because we're just trying to raise food for people. And at the end of the day, this is trying to provide people a meal. And so any promotion we can get, any good we can do is really important to us.
I think we're going to go to break, but what you said, just we talk about the stats and we always say, we can be as data rich as we want and we can speak about 1 in 3 years facing food insecurity, but it's about making sure that we're not so data rich that we do it at the expense of being relationship poor. And what you and how you framed it and how you shared that is there's a relationship that comes with not only the donation, but with the food and touching individuals. And so the food will definitely fill people's bellies, but what you're looking at is making sure people's souls are filled so they can feel the well-being, the inclusion, and being part of, and truly being a part of this community and recognizing that, as the young lady said, everybody deserves something nice. So we'll be back on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tagged machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seating Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Husker fans know when you work together, great things happen. At Cornhusker Bank, they're more than your financial partner. With 5 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Omaha, they're your neighbors, your teammates, and your biggest fans. Whether you're saving for your first home, planning your future, or growing your business, they're right here in Nebraska to help you move forward together. Visit cornhusker.bank to learn more. Cornhusker Bank, member FDIC. Doing life together.
Deciding on a college with your high school senior can be a little overwhelming for parents. But applying for money to pay for it is simple. FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is now easier than ever with fewer questions and faster fill-out times. If you have a high school senior, now is the time to apply for thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing. Get started, Nebraska, at dothefafsa.org. Sponsored by Education Quest Foundation. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. This is Peter Ferguson BHS LLC, and joined on the ones and twos with Harrison. We have had an enlightening program and want to make sure as we close up and share things, we have been discussing the food blitz as the community has rallied around with various situations with food insecurity. And as I stated as we opened up, that this was a program that Xavier had reached out to me in September and said, hey, can we get time in November to promote, but also to share what we'll be doing on November 8th, which will be 11 to 3. It'll be the 13th annual food blitz that is hosted by the FBLA chapters as well as DECA area schools, not just them from Southwest, but it'll be 11 to 3 at the various BNR locations. That's Russ's and Super Saver, 27th and Pine Lake, 56th and Northeast Parkway, Fallbrook, the Russ's Markets at Coddington and A, Havelock Avenue, 66 and O, and 33rd Nebraska and Northeast Parkway. Again, Saturday, November 8th, where you can support food insecurity, but also make sure everybody has something nice. And so, Xavier, both of you, I want you to, any other specifics you want to give, but also want to end with a love huddle that you want to call a CTA to call the community to act.
Yeah, so just to end us a few more specifics, again, just kind of some items that we're looking for. We're looking for mostly non-perishable items. Anything canned is good. Boxed meals such as like hamburger helper, mac and cheese, oatmeal, cereal, even baby food. And then again, just canned items are just a really big thing. Anything non-perishable is what we're looking for.
All right, what about you? Anything specific you want to kind of share about just the experience? Rally the community. You do the love huddle. So, the community's ready. They're coming into the stores. How are you going to approach them?
Well, I mean, just donate. I mean, I think that's pretty good. We're probably going to be coming up to you and we're going to be freezing. I mean, It's going to be cold out, but I think it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Xavier, give me a love huddle. Getting the community rallied. You're getting your group rallied as they're coming out. You're sharing information with them. You want to get them prepared to kind of make the ask, but also realize what the ask and how it's going to make an impact.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be standing, I'm going to be quite frank, I guess, when I say this. We're going to be standing outside in the cold for several hours. It's going to be interesting, but there's someone that's doing that every day, and that's their only option, and they may or may not have a meal that day. And so to be able to stand out there in the cold, yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, we get to do so much good with it by being able to collect these donations and raise this much food. And so although you're standing out there in the cold, recognize that someone does that every day, not by choice, and that you get to help them by doing this.
And I think, wanting to do our part, I know the station, and thank you for all those area, businesses that are stepping up in this time of need, but also that time of need is always existent. One of the things Harrison and I would like to do is we'd like to make the first contribution. And so what we've got there is a financial donation just of $100 for you all to go ahead and buy hopefully your first 100 cans. But I mean, if you can find them on sale, to go ahead and start kind of filling those coffers and just supporting the families, but the young people in need. We do truly appreciate what you're doing, how you're making an impact, and going past the data. You know, like I said, we know the numbers. You know, 1 in 3 are facing food insecurity. We have seen the news, but the bottom line is we don't want to be so data rich without being relationship poor. And this community is built on connecting and building those relationships. So with that being said, support the Food Blitz next Saturday, 11 to 3, November 8th on that Saturday at all the BNR and Russ's locations.
Thank you, Pete.
No, thank you.